All right, GSVM, everyone. Hi, Semi. GSVM.
GSM, GSM.
How's it going?
Crazy, crazy, crazy good. Turbo good.
Terrible good, terrible good. I love it. But
Yeah.
yeah, everyone. Today I have the pleasure of being joined by Semi, co-founder of Send Arcade. Do you want to just give a quick self intro as to like
Uh,
who you are, what you're building, and how you got into crypto?
I'm Semi, co-founder at Ren Arcade, and well, we started off our journey was like a bit crazy how we came here. Um, Originally, first Send Arcade we established on Solana actually before coming to Eclipse,
Mhm.
and what happened was like it was a random we like building games a lot. Me and my co-founder Blurry, we love building games, and we had built games on multiple chains before, and like it was more of like we were finding a PMF trying to establish products. It was hard honestly. We tried some chains and but we couldn't get users there. We tried to establish a full gaming platform, but still we couldn't get that many user traction there, because even if in crypto game the you're it is hard to go viral with web 2 games. You have like even if you implement like really good quality games, until your game
Mhm.
mechanics are like really good and you don't have a good user base, it's hard to make people play the games in a space where like play to like just you can spend time on farming airdrops more,
Mhm.
and you can spend time on other like trading stuff more. It is hard to get the crypto audience towards gaming, basically gamification of things. So actually we started with Solana Startup Village. We were we didn't even know about that, but we were vouched by a few people and we just jumped on let's see, try. We met like basically the Send folks there, the people who launched the Send token,
Mhm.
and we were like, let's there was a meta of Blinks there that time.
Yeah.
Blinks were just starting out and getting famous. So we were like, let's try to build some games on Blinks. And they asked like, because Send already was setting up branding. We got asked like, what if let's do it an ecosystem thing. Let's do it let's revolve it around as an ecosystem thing. You build your games and so what we were like, okay, let's try like have that Blink thing and let's try. It's a little different thing. So and of course like we chose Blinks actually because like all that users thing. We were like, maybe on Twitter, if we try,
Yeah.
we might get users, people actually trying, finding it fun more than just farming it. So we launched our first Blink, which was a chess game, which was a degen chess game, basically. Had a lot of complex mechanics. Honestly, it wasn't our
Yeah.
best doing Blink because it had a lot of mechanics. It
Mhm.
had its own bonding curve based betting amount, and every move was a bet. Every move was a bet. Every game had a distribution based on how you're winning. It was crazy. It was crazy. It got us the initial traction. In the first 2 days it got us a lot of hype, and it started our journey. After that we were solo building only, that launched
Mhm.
10 plus Blinks in past 3 months. We launched 10 plus Blinks. Only through Twitter Blinks we got a volume of 300k plus, that only
Damn.
through Twitter. So that was what was basically a lot of gave us the confidence, gave us this boost to build more, build focus on solely building this arcade more and pushing it. Right now there's a lot of AI agent meta going on. So we are launching some AI agent based games. We launched a basically an AI arcade agent, which we launched a demo. We are providing beta access to people, which is basically lets you play games through while the AI talks to you. And it got launched it day before yesterday, and it's 128k views or something like that. I was just checking. It blew up a kind of um yeah. So that is something it's you don't know what will work in the start,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
now like eventually you figure out people want simplicity, people don't want too much call to actions, people don't want too much of complexity, they want to play and get engaged, like have simple, like one of our most like famous blinks is basically snakes and ladders.
yeah,
Yeah, and it isn't very hard, like you just roll a dice and play, but because of
yeah.
the mechanics it has, it became one of the most sticky blink on Solana. And like we recently launched it on Eclipse also, like two of our blinks are live on Eclipse and more games are coming. First, like trying to launch the turbo computer games, shout out to the turbo computer team and devs. It's a crazy game engine built totally out of Rust, which like blew my mind honestly, because
Yeah,
yeah, like those like it's Rust is a language which is like very, it's fast but it's hard to build games on them, and like
yeah,
having that game engine is crazy. Yeah,
yeah. I guess
did I add too much?
no, no, no. That was great. I really liked how you
uh,
dived into like all of the decisions, the entire journey, even down to like who you met, what type of games like you guys decided to build, why you guys decided to build games. I guess a question for you. I feel like
mm,
gaming and also like gamification of things has become like more and more prevalent in like multiple verticals. To be honest, like
yeah,
you saw this a lot in last cycle. There was a lot of like gamified experiences, right? Probably like Axie Infinity, DeFi Kingdoms were the two notable examples. And I feel
yeah,
like it's like slowly making a comeback, like just gamified things. You're seeing some inklings of that in like the base ecosystem, so the Solana ecosystem, the Hyperliquid ecosystem. And there's a
yes,
lot of people building at the intersection of gaming plus AI, right? Like
yeah, yeah,
you,
yeah,
you probably have one of the most like experiences just building like fun, intuitive, like sticky, most important of all, like
yep.
games. Is there any advice you would have for like people that are thinking about like going out and like building games on like crypto rails?
Okay. So, I mean, this is a very, I mean, this is something which I learned, like it took me like some time to learn, honestly. That the difference between gaming and gamification in the crypto world. Um, gaming is an entirely different, yeah. So good games like Valorant, things like that,
Mhm.
don't won't work in crypto if you're targeting these. It's your target audience that matters. You're like 90% of these gamification users are degens, honestly,
Mhm.
being true, and
Yeah.
even people who want to be like engaged. There is a thing which is basically having that like just not like a lot of projects kind of enforce crypto onto their games.
Yeah.
That is one thing I have felt. Like where Web3 is not needed, they just enforce like random NFT things, random. That is what like kind of just makes it complex and drives away a lot of users.
Yep.
So my like experience with it is like, obviously I want to leverage the protocols, I want to leverage Web3 protocols in like a creative way. That is the gamification there is there. So like we had a game called the Scott game, which is
Mhm.
basically we used the Scott protocol multisig to make a framework of basically recreate Squid Game but using a whole multisig. So people think like these protocols are boring, like what would you expect from a multisig protocol? Of course we use it for transaction and everything, but people don't come that you can gamify it. So that was what we thought, like we thought like let's do this, let's have this, let's prove to the world that a thing, a multisig, which is a whole like a financial protocol, can be like gamified. So we built a whole structure for a Squid Game to go on the multisig. It was all on chain, everything, and that brought in a lot of like new views to us. Like they had this like basically gamification is that everyone was like, yeah, this is something new, this is something creative. I'm not enforcing crypto on people. I'm using a protocol, a good Web3 protocol, and like using the good aspects of it, which is the
Mhm.
multisig, and having people in the multisig, like on-chain decisions. People get kicked out. The last one gets the whole of the price pot. So it's fun. Like It is fun, it is creative fun, it is not like adding excessive things. That is my whole thing. Like if you want to have gamification in crypto, it's like
Yeah.
and web3 and like all of this, like in different chains, Solana, Eclipse, I would recommend that like go for this, go for like keep it simple also, but add like even if you are having like unique elements, creative elements, make them subtle, a little subtle, like they are there, they will intrigue the users, they have to see that you're doing something unique. But they should not add like stop people from like they have to think much before they play.
Yeah.
They can play and then see its effects are cool. That is a, and I press but a button and see if like it's having very cool fun effects, or like I'm able to then like at least start the game and then figure out, okay, yeah, like I figure out on a lot along the way. I don't have to think about so many things. I can the game goes on with me. That's the whole thing. The gamification part goes on around me. Like
Yeah,
that's
I 100% agree. I feel like crypto does this thing a lot of the time where they like try to force very crypto native like
yes,
mechanisms that are often very complex
true.
onto users. Then you're like, why is nobody playing this? I'm like, dude, like you just made the most simple thing like
Yeah.
insanely complicated. You know, like all you really needed to do was use crypto as a payment rails, have some like very like simple form of like financialization to it,
Yes.
right? Rather than just trying to do some crazy like DeFi like financial mechanism. So
Yeah, and
could
and
not
like
agree more.
even if you're doing, I don't mind DeFi. I like DeFi protocols, but you can make it more user friendly. Like you don't have to be like, okay, this is like you have to think about so many things at the same time. You can make it user friendly, give it gamified terms, like terms which go easy on the users. You
Yeah.
don't have to call it like mention an APY in the game. That is not like something which I want to hear in a game. I can use these creative point systems and like basically yeah, different kinds of gamification mechanisms which we had, like bonuses, speed boosts, these things, and then convert them into profits. And we think that's there, obviously there. That's the part of Web3. But yeah, making it easy to go on users is what we need.
Yeah. I would also love to learn about like your creative process. How do you think about what games to build from like ideation all the way to shipping? Because I assume like that's very non-trivial, and for sure, like sometimes you probably hit a roadblock. You learn something about user behavior, like okay, maybe this game isn't the right like path to go downwards. I would just love to hear like your creative process in deciding what games to build as part of Send Arcade.
So the first thing which is like I always oblige to in my creative processes, like we have our own TG groups and everything, like the
Yeah,
team and everything. I just love to chunk out ideas, like just throw, like even if they're bad, even if I have not thought about them too much, I just love to mention these ideas. So and like even like the team and everyone, like it does that, like yeah, just chuck out ideas is one thing, like discuss them openly is one thing I love. Like so like what happens is I'll go through one like journey which a game which we are building, which is like an alpha kind of it's called, we posted about it a while back, not announced it, but it's called Solana Monopoly.
mhm,
And it's basically a monopoly which is on like based on Solana projects. Like instead of properties, you have like Solana projects as properties. For example, Helios Island, Jupiter City, and like these just giving the vibe of Solana projects to properties. So like it was a very like create, like it took time actually to come up with the mechanics and everything.
mhm.
We just like mentioned, like we were like going through what we can do, what kind of games we can make, and like we just got this, like let's make some like game, because we had this consumer day, Solana consumer day, and it had brought us a lot of collaborations, projects, and everything coming on. So we were like, yeah, like why not do something which is like brings the whole ecosystem together. And then we came across Monopoly, but like representing them as properties, like it took a 3 hour call, honestly. Like we were just sitting and yapping with each other,
Yeah,
like shout out to Yash. Like this idea, like originally like generated from me and him, like on 3 hour call at like I don't know, it was from 12 a.m. to like 4 a.m. in the morning and something. I was in Thailand back then, he was in Bangalore, and like we were
Yeah.
just yapping about it and just figured out the game mechanics somehow. And yeah. Okay. The creative process needs to iterate a lot, a lot. So we start with one thing, but my thing is like we do a lot of breaking and building again. Like we
Yeah.
there is a lot of people are like scared of breaking things because yeah you like it involves breaking code also, it involves sidelining even like some designs you've made and everything, because yeah you put effort, you have put effort there. But the point is like you need to keep iterating on things which work around. That is one of my like an important thing while I'm going through the process of the game. And yeah, while it's iterating, I also this like the breaking thing is, I feel it is faster than having a very solid design plan laid out in the
Yeah.
starting. And like you don't get to start until it's done. So like if I wait for it to be perfect, I won't be able to start.
Yeah.
I start designing, coding, everything, like with while the creative flow is going on. So it brings me a lot more like yeah, that is why we are able to ship like we try to ship fast, and we try to iterate over the processes, develop it over the processes. And of course, like the hype train is obviously there. You ride the hype train, guys.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like building in public is always a good move. And also just like continuously reiterating like long term like strategy docs or sort of like product docs. Like by the time you like write it out, like the whole industry has changed in like 2 weeks. Like it just never works, regardless of
Yeah.
like even at like a big scale, like company level or like a small scale. Right. I also wanted to ask you about your vision. In 5 years' time, say like next cycle, what do you want Send Arcade to be? Like, what is your grand vision for all of this?
So I mean, this is a little bit overwhelming for me also,
Yeah.
because it's like we just started it just like it hasn't been a long time, and like we are able to like jump the scales this much till now. But yeah, like at the pace at which we are going, I want to like at in if you're talking about like some like next cycle, I try to think less, honestly. I try
Yeah.
to think like what I'm gonna do in Jan, what products I'm gonna ship in Jan.
Yeah.
That is what all I try to think. But if you're like asking that question, I think what my this vision I started with, like like our tagline, Send Arcades tagline is gamifying, basically gamifying ecosystems, gamifying Solana, gamifying Eclipse. That is our ecosystem. So that is my whole vision, that along the line I am able to like onboard good protocols, basically, which are also like thought of as like being very technical, being very hyper technical and all, and give users a like a gamified entrance to crypto. So that is what sticks, I feel. If as a person, I'm trying out some new product, to make it a product which is like everyday useful for me. I would it will take a getting used to it, right? For example, if I want to use blinks in a daily way, if it's like along the down the line it comes, we use shopping blinks or like blinks like that. I need
Mhm.
to start somewhere, right? And gaming is something which intrigues everyone.
Yeah.
It makes people want to try something like that is the like space for experimentation for us builders also, and for the users also. They love trying out something through games. That is like my vision around it, like making like on-chain games like a lot more prevalent, or like having a lot of aspects to it, doing do like even bigger experiments with different on-chain protocols, that like, and try to gamify them. So like right now the plan is this only. as we scale, we get more creative, more like indigenously thought games out there. So,
Yeah.
and at one point of time, that the line which is between basically that makes Web3 gaming complex, like which makes it a little bit, hard to get in. Use that to get people in to Web3, like which is the like which people think it's like the problem. I think that can be the solution. Gamification can be the solution to easily adapt people. So that's my vision.
Yeah. 100% agree. I think gamification, both like gamification of like just behavior plus like games itself is probably one of the best ways that we are going to get like new entrants into crypto, right? And I think like Axie Infinity is like the canonical example of that last
Yeah,
cycle,
yeah,
right?
obviously, like they're the OGs. I mean, shout out to them. So of course.
Yeah. Last thing for you, like is there like something that you want to tell the listeners? Where can they learn more about what you're building? Where can they find you?
So basically, right now our most presence is on Twitter. Like you can just go and check our Twitter account, which is like send_arcade, and we have a website sendarcade.fun. We are revamping things. You can like switch like play games on Solana and like switch to Eclipse also. Like we have just added the Eclipse support to that, and a lot more games are coming up. A lot more things are cooking. It's gonna be crazy, I feel. Turbo
Nice. That's
crazy.
great to hear. I'm super excited to hopefully win some money on Eclipse's version of Send Arcade and not lose too much.
Yeah, sure, 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 sure. We've got a lot of like Eclipse meme coins there. You can win a lot of turbo there. Turbo, yeah, I
Nice.
guess. Yeah,
All right. This was fantastic. I really appreciate you doing this.
yeah, yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right. See you, dude. Bye bye.
Bye.